Shocking confession from Russian commander, Russia's provocation plan. Success is always crowded, but failure is always lonely. You cannot fail in a matter of that concern a large part of society. If you fail, you will have to take the responsibility for that failure. You have to say something to the public when they are waiting for an explanation from the authorities on an issue that concerns them. The most effective way to lose public anxiety and reassure the public in crisis situations is to be sincere. Politicians should be accountable to the public and transparent. In not-democratic governments, there is no concern for accountability to the people. Authoritarian governments can do whatever they want. In times of war, it's even more important to inform the public. An unconvinced public is an internal threat to the political administration. The public, which has begun to feel the burdens of the war on its shoulders, wants to take an action that will show its reaction in order to alleviate this burden. This is the beginning of the end for the political mechanisms, because the rise of oppositions within the country while the war continues means the addition of a new front to the fronts of the war. The situation in Russia is similar. The people and soldiers who feel the burden of the war on their shoulders are voicing their problems caused by the deficits and shortcomings of the administration every day. The Moscow administration, on the other hand, is trying to turn the war in its favor by making dangerous plans. After the recent developments on the southern front, everyone wondered about the reasons for this failure. The Russian commander in charge of the southern front made a shocking statement about this failure. Russia's dangerous sabotage plan was also revealed. Now, if you're ready, let's examine the Russian commander's statements and Russia's sabotage plan together. The commander of the Russian battalion, who was expelled from the village of Erosion in the Donetsk region, described the weak points in the offensive and defenses against Ukrainian forces. At the same time, he revealed the inadequacies of the Russian army in terms of support. Alexander Khodorkovsky, commander of Vostok Battalion fighting on behalf of Russia on the Donetsk front, said in a statement that Ukrainian forces had launched fierce attacks on the Russian invaders and suffered heavy losses on the Erosion front. Khodorkovsky, who served in Ukraine's renowned Alpha Special Forces Battalion, the security service before joining Moscow's 2014 insurgency in Donbass, has spoken about Russia's weaknesses. On social media, people reacted to this situation, thinking that he was paying the price of the choices he made in his past. He stated that no reserve troops had arrived in this area and no artillery battalion had been deployed. He explained that while clashes were going on at the front, no new troops were coming to replace the casualties and that the clashes were being fought with existing forces. He said that they were waiting for the reinforcement in Erosion, and although the Russian army said it would send them, no reinforcements were sent. Khodorkovsky said that the Russian forces in the region were doing everything they could. Stating that they not surrendered without a fight, the commander said that they used all the ammunition they had. Khodorkovsky shared in his statements on the internet, and his post was analyzed by many people in a short time. In the comments shared, Russia's attitude was criticized. Reactions to the Moscow administration, which cannot provide support to its own troops, are growing like an avalanche. But Kremlin officials did not make any statements after these reactions. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said in a statement that the counteroffensive actions on the southern Zaporizhia and the southeastern Donetsk front continues. She shared that Kiev's forces have made some advances around the town of Erosion and the neighboring regions of Stromayorsk, and that the Ukrainian army has achieved successes. Hanna Maliar reported that in the Stromayorsk region, Russian forces are constantly on the offensive to regain lost positions. However, she noted that these attacks have not yielded any results, and the Ukrainian army is strongly and steadfastly defending its positions. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar, which describing the general situation of the war, said that the Ukrainian forces are approaching the desired level. She stated that the war is going on many fronts and shared information about each front one by one. While things are getting better for Ukraine, it is not possible to say that the same for Russia. It was known that Moscow administration was planning sabotage, but recent developments have revealed the seriousness of this situation. Russia is planning a false flag operations at its own nuclear power plant in Kursk region. A spokesman for the Ukrainian Armed Forces says, citing the Ukrainian National Center of Resistance. The Ukrainian National Center of Resistance, created by Special Operation Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, said in a statement that it had obtained leaked documents showing that the Kremlin was preparing a provocation at the Kursk nuclear power plant in western Russia. Last month, Kursk authorities accused Ukraine of attempting a drone attack on a nuclear power plant in the region. The regional governor, Roman Starovoyt, said a drone was shot down near a residential building in the town of Kurchatov, just a few miles from the plant. In the latest statements, Russian authorities said preparations were underway for evacuation from the radioactive contamination zone in the event of an accident at the nuclear plant. It was also reported that the evacuation planning covers 57,000 people. The number of people to be evacuated caused a great reaction. Although the population of this region is more than 1 million and the population of Kursk is 435,000, the evacuation plan for 57,000 people revealed that those on the list were selected people. Sarah Ashton-Krylev, the official spokesperson for the Ukrainian Armed Forces Territorial Defense Forces, said that they had received reports that the Ukrainian National Resistance Center had received documents showing that Russia was planning a false flag attack on the Kursk nuclear power plant. Russia's provocations at the Kursk nuclear power plant, Zaporizhzhia power plant, and its attempts to escalate hostilities against NATO countries were clearly planned. Ashton-Krylev said, "We must understand that it leaves NATO with no choice but to respond to any provocation from Russia and the need to close its borders with Russia and Belarus," he added. There have been many attempts and provocation following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but nuclear power plants are one of the most dangerous components of these provocations. It is not known whether Moscow would make such a dangerous move at the nuclear facility in its own region. However, the threats of nuclear power made by Russian officials in recent days may be part of this plan. If these threats and provocation plans, which have brought the world to the brink of the nuclear war, materialize, much more dangerous events could take place in the region. The developments in the war between Russia and Ukraine, which the whole world is following carefully, are intensifying day by day. While Ukraine continues its counterattacks operations without slowing down, Russia wants to strengthen its hand by making new moves. Ukraine, on the other hand, wants to clear the invaders in its country and end the war. Russia's moves, which also affect international politics, seems to have no effect for now. We will see what the results of these moves will be in the coming days. How do you think Russia's statements about its inability to support and reinforce its troops on the front lines can be interpreted? Do you think that Moscow's leadership is failing to support its fighting troops? How do you think the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive operations are progressing? What do you think about Russia's false flag plan? How do you think a nuclear war in the region would affect the world? We care about your views. Please share them with us.